And good morning. It's 7th of December 23. This will be a short stream basically confirming the struggle that I've got the audio set up working okay. That's been quite a struggle. I'm going to drop off a little before the top of the hour here because I have a presentation to make at 9. So we had quite an interesting overnight. Best to see on the IRT, I suppose. This is the overnight trade. It was just flat all the way up until they picked up a little bit on London. And then we got the initial jobless claims number out at 7:30, which is pretty obvious. That was a good number, and it's been marching steadily up since then. We're looking to open higher in range. These are the statistics. I have to keep chasing this up because this is a statistic for the overnight high, and it keeps, it's about the fourth time it's moved here. I don't have these statistics automatic. I prefer to, it registers more with me where they are when I set them manually. The cloud notes here are automatically pushed from the levels on Investor RT. So we've got about 7 minutes till the open. Tomorrow will be non-farm payroll, I believe. And so this is kind of a goofy week. Quite a lot of volatile movement yesterday and the day before. And look at this irrational exuberance here. And again, we go up even higher. The micro composite, about 9 or 10 days here. Yesterday was quite a big down day, obviously. Rebalanced a lot of this trade. We're still sitting at the 45.70 on the POC for the micro composite. Still, I got to turn those off. That was loud. Still have to, in my opinion, there will come a time when we come back and deal with all of these gaps. This was quite unusual. 1, 2, 3, basically 4 gap ups, and no. The closest we got to even thinking about closing one of them was right here, which is back on the 9th of November. So my guess is the market goes up to go down and down to go up, and at one of these times we're going to get up here, perhaps when we take out the 63, which is the POC from a micro composite way back here in the days of July. So, yeah. You can go down so many rabbit holes with this stuff. It's just really phenomenal. Boy, this Energizer Bunny going on over here now. There's the IB low. I didn't get that stat in, thinking we weren't going to wander up there, but I guess we're going to. Let's see what that stat would be. These statistics come from this study that I have in IRT, which is based on a touch of price based on based on the opening position, higher out of range, higher in range, lower out of range. And this is the percentage of times that price touched or took out these various levels with a 2001 day data set. So very definitely statistically significant. Again, we're in higher in range, and see what that IB low is, 60.2. So you see that these parameters are guidelines, but they are certainly not anything set in stone or hang your hat on necessarily, because for example, this report, these statistics don't take into consideration context, reports, any of that. This is just how many times in 2,000 days did price take out the overnight point of control when we opened higher in range. And the percentage of time that happened was 83%. There were 473 instances of that. So that's how it works. Go back to the day session here. So we've moved up. This is the IB low up here. We've got our overnight high again. I'm going to have to jack this up even further. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, one would expect there could be some responsive selling or profit taking at the open. I would not find that unusual at all. Boy, I would like to know what this damn note always means. I always get a note in the YouTube control panel on OBS after it's signals excellent, and all of a sudden it says suggestion, the stream, it says open studio. The problem is you don't see what that the rest of the message is, so that's kind of irritating. Anyway, the point of these streams are my video journal, where I can see and hear. I can hear my thinking and see my actions. So it's without a doubt the best way to journal. And then, of course, I can take screenshots or do whatever needs doing, right? Going to open in 1 minute here. I will switch the IRT screens to the regular trading hours. Because I don't see any significant movement is going to happen in the next 30 seconds, and we're open. Data latency spike and a delay. We've got a 2-minute lag on IRT, which is now resolved. Now 2 millisecond lag on our IRT, and a data latency spike detected here in Bookmap. Look at that liquidity jam in there. Wow. That's pretty amazing. And we'll start doing something here, but it's not responding. Why? I want to set my brackets. Turn on multi-bracket. This enables the risk neutral trading. two contracts with the 12 tick stop. First profit target is 12 ticks, second is 24. When this first one is hit, then we are risk neutral. So that's how that works. Set this up over here for both. I trade with a keyboard, confirm that everything's correct. Get that out of the way so there's a little bit more visibility. Wow. That liquidity is pretty amazing. And I'm not sure why I'm not getting yeah, I'm in the wrong column, that's why. So normally I would track my migrating VPOC here visually, but it's actually kind of a little bit off because we're at this statistic. Well, so much for my concept. Wow, look at that mess going on there. There's the swing high, swing low. POC is moving again. Mid, VWAP. IB high is the high of the first 1 hour of trade in regular trading hours, and low is obviously the low, so that gives you your swing high and low for the moment, for the first hour. I'm hoping that all of the audio quality is good. What I'm finding to be the variable now is the position of the boom mic on this Logitech G Pro X headset. I hope trying to figure out a way to measure it or gauge it so that I can get it reset at every time.
Order submitted.
Try a trade here on the short if we can get down to the swing low. Probably not. That was probably a bit impulsive. I was thinking this test of the VPOC here was a good idea, but it's not going to pan out that way. It doesn't appear.
Order submitted.
Set those stops together, and we'll see where we go here. Normally, some would move the stop above the high of the day. That's not good. The VPOC migration up is not a good thing right there. If we get down here close to, and we've got the mid VPOC and everybody jacked up there in one spot, probably take this off the table. I don't like the looks of that VPOC migration up, that's for sure. And what do we got below? We've got the IB stats below. That might get us someplace here. I don't like this price action. I'm going to hit out of this. Plunger. Should be flat. And we are. With the $100 drawdown. Could have been a little more proactive and got it here at the limit, but yeah, that was an impulsive. I'll put that as an error. Thinking that we were going to get back to this swing. We've tested it and didn't make it. So right now it's a pretty tight range. Yeah. and it may well work out without any problems, except this right here would have been a little bit of that one trade would have taken the stops. So, it may now bottom fall out. You never know. That's the joy of trading. And I'm going to try a couple of things here. I'm going to try to be right back. And so here we are. We're testing this the second or third time now we've tested this low. Essentially, we're doing a mean reversion here between 74 change to 79. So, and at the moment, the market is up. So we're essentially in a consolidation area. That was an impulsive trade of my part, basically, and late entry. So my trade was here, looking for takeout of or test of the swing low. We got and that was a bad idea because we had a VPOC migration up. Now the VPOC is much more sensitive at the beginning of the trading session, obviously, because there's so little volume involved. This is the volume profile for the session. This is the full session from 1700 last night. The darker VPOC is the full session. The brighter one is the current session, and this is the chart. Whatever you have on the chart is what you have graphed over here in this volume profile, or displayed in the volume profile. It didn't like me spinning that wheel. Yeah. So the full session VPOC is now migrated up on top, and they are equal at 12,800 contracts right here. You can see that. Probably from this point, we would probably test higher again with this liquidity lifting off, but I am going to consider that $100 test of the market was enough. I have to be thinking about the presentation coming up at the top of the hour, which is when I would be more normally looking for a trade of the IB30. That is a stat that's been developed at the Traders Lab. The IB stat says that 90%, 95% of the time, the IB high or the IB low will be taken out during the regular trading session. Maybe, 2 minutes before the closing bell, maybe 1 minute. Now, the IB high and the IB low are not set. They move continually with the highs and lows of price for the first hour. So there's a new stat called the IB30, which says that assuming this is the IB high and it turns 9 o'clock, this will be increased or this one will be decreased in that second 30-minute period, or the IB high of the first 30 minutes will be taken out. IB stat, high or low. That's a stat that I like, and it's got a quite a high probability, 80 or 90%. But I will not be able to participate in that because I'll be in this presenting on another area. So, bummer. Now, if you were a scalp guy and real good at it, you'd just be taking these swings and all tickled with yourself. The real trade, I guess, that some people got, I'm sure, would have been the 730. Would have been this 730 number when it took off and just got on and rode her up. 10 points plus 17 points actually. So I'm sure that there are those who did that. I generally don't trade around numbers. I don't find I can control my risk properly, and I'm all about risk. In my opinion, the goal or the main function of a trader is to preserve your account to be able to trade tomorrow. That's why the risk neutral trading is so important to me, and why I'm struggling. Well, I don't know about struggling, but I'm vigilant about now here we are in the third test at 75. That might be the time it breaks. That's the problem. The reason I'm not taking these is here's 75. The first obstacle is the mid, right? That's 76 quarter. That's 1.5 points. Even if you stretch it to the POC at 77, that's only 2 points. That isn't enough meat on the bone to scale, because you've got to have, typically the theory of the proper execution in risk neutral is that you would scale ahead of the first obstacle. That means that your stop has to be at that same distance. So you're talking about 1.5 points. That's poor. Just all of the numbers around that are poor. Risk reward, range, your win rate and your expectancy, it shoots all of that stuff in the head. So had I gotten the break I was looking for over here, which looks like it will come now, lower, a test of the POC, and down past 75, if they can break 75, that's one thing. I won't take this trade down because it would be a breakout. And that's an error in my world, because that, in my opinion, is FOMO. And that's what this trade, where I put this trade, and I will consider that an error, a FOMO error, or BO error, I call it, breakout. A little bit more specific on the error type, as one of the strategy or one of the setups, and that's how I take care of the errors and account for them in the journal. Yeah, we are basically just building a big zipper here. There's no news or reports out. The initial jobless was at 7:30, and it was a good report. Now here we go. So here's my entry. My first target was here, which would have been risk neutral, and let's see how that performs. But, having said all of that, would have been stopped out. Likely here, for sure here, again here. Now, I don't think, in order to have my stop up above the high, that would have increased the risk by 1.5 points. So I would have needed to increase the targets 1.5 points for risk neutral. Right? Oh, I'm sorry, targets 1.5 points by risk neutral. And that's the way a lot of traders trade. The thing I'm trying to develop or to capture, build a statistically significant data set, and you cannot do that with a bunch of variables. So if one trade has a stop of points, 12 ticks, and the next one has one of 15, and the next one has one of 9. None of those three trades can be included in the same data set. I'm trying to identify the actual edge, but you can't have variables. And here we go to here it goes now from the test of the VPOC. VPOC and mid, testing lower. So in theory, these tests here would have been a structured trade south. But I didn't take them. So there you have it. Disappointing, but true. And if I were to take this now, it would be a breakout. And that's not, may win, but that's probably worse, actually. When you have a error trade that pays you, your mind can do amazing things with that. Yeah. Your rationalization skills. Humans have phenomenal rationalization skills. I mean, amazing. And herd mentality. I'm trying to figure out how to get this mic working so that I can get it positioned the same every time. It's pretty flexible, and if I don't set the headset down just right, then, I don't see any real way in OBS to actually measure that. I can't, and there's no way to actively monitor. I don't think. Let me see something here. Let me see something here. So if I can hear it's a delay, so real confusing to talk, but yeah, seems like it's okay with the mic and 3 fingers. Whoa, that's crazy. All right. Well, we'll see how that works. We still haven't gotten to a target, which would be right here, I think. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Excuse me. The target, well, we did reach the first target. So in theory, this trade would have been risk neutral at this point. And then we'll see where we go, and it looks like it's heading for target number 2. So that would have been a nice trade. However, just too early, too impatient, or not patient enough, or not measured to let the market shake out a little bit and find some direction, which it seems to be finding now. And here we have that consolidation, and now a little breakout. It has pushed the IB low is getting a little extended. The settlement is at 56. 56. So settlement's down here. And the close. And I'm going to need to drop off now, unfortunately, to get ready for this stream. Not stream, presentation, sorry. Irritating. I don't want to leave the stream going. I guess I could. That might be interesting. Put the background music on and let the stream run in case a trade presents and I take it or the meeting's short, then I don't have to restart the stream again. I think I'll try that this time. 7th December, I'm going to try just dropping off the stream with put on the background or be right back walking base and let the stream run out as I switch to my other machine and get ready for this presentation. So that's what we'll do. All right, I'm going to mute off the mic here now and get the Be Right Back music going. And I hope I am right back. Well, I must be psychic. That, not sure that doesn't look like the whole, there'd Be Right Back music continue. But anyway, yeah, so that's great. That presentation was canceled. So I'm back on the stream live. I hope everything's working okay here. Looks like this. Great. That's fantastic. So we did make, no, didn't quite make the second target. Now, Are we going to come back up to the mid VWAP here and test back down? We've had one of those already. Mid VWAP, almost to POC and back. And let's see how the IB30 plays out. Well, I hope the stream continued without issue when I had to take out my headset and back again. But anyway, I'll know that when I review the stream. So where are we? What have we got happening now? Well, we tried to test down. We didn't get too far. We're back in that mid and VWAP consolidation. Now we didn't get much lower. We got down to and we're still not going to be looking at the IB low yet. IB30. The problem with this is, well, not problem, but you know, my preference is short, so I'm looking at the IB low, but this is the mid. That means it's exactly mid-level between high and low. So it's a coin flip, which what direction this thing's going to go, depending on what the traders want to do. And if you look at this, high, low, high, low, high, low. It's a consolidating, compacting consolidation. So winding that spring up, and which way is it going to loose? Which way is it going to cut loose? Make sure that everything's okay here. Yeah. What did that say? None or both? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, you see that? High, low, closer, lower, high. So I guess the way you say it in trader talk is high, low, lower, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low, and just, like winding up a spring. And it's going to cut loose one way or the other, I'm guessing. There's no news or speakers coming up to jar it loose. We're just turning 9 o'clock, so the IB30 would be at play. But at this moment, I'm not going to take my usual bet on a south call because, and that shows you what I should have done there, I guess. This little algo throwing volume in there, or throwing some liquidity in there, trying to put the lid on it to get it go down, and it looks like it's going to. So chances now are going to be my IB30 stat at the low side. Unfortunately, we would have been risk neutral right there off the mid. But, especially in this context with the narrowing range, compressing, mid VWAP below VPOC, it's entirely possible that they'll price check up here. There is a structured trade that's mid VWAP to POC, actually, and that's just in range, because if you got on it exactly 74, you'd be just a little under the 3-point scale below the first obstacle here. Well, the first obstacle is actually the VWAP, so it's not entirely correct, but not entirely correct. Yeah. My first trade was impulsive. It will be an error, FOMO, error breakout, trying to get ahead of this presentation, get a trade on in the stream ahead of the presentation. None of those are valid reasons for taking a trade. The valid, correct method would be to not do anything. Just observe and narrate. But I didn't do that. So I mean, still hasn't. Oh yeah, it's just almost got my target. No, didn't quite get the target. It hasn't picked a side. If you look at the, might be easier to, on the Renko, here we are. Extremely compressed. 79, 69, 10 points, less than 10. 9.5 point range so far, first 35 minutes. First 35 minutes. The VPOC was hit about a half a dozen times. That was yesterday's VPOC. Boy, they're testing the hell out and that's 70, 71. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Unfortunately, I may not get one off here today. Another one. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can stand here in this thing again. So monitor the mute. Audio. Yeah, it seems like it's okay, I guess. Wow. That audio, that just, half a couple of second delay sure screws up your brain, I'll tell you, or at least mine. So we would be now on a VPOC to VPOC, VWAP mid to VPOC trade. The problem with that is the highest we've gotten so far today. Yeah, that's going to happen though. We're going to probably get to this VPOC area. There we go. That 74 to 77, if you were spot on the this mid test right here, you would have just barely been risk neutral. So I'm not thinking that these guys are being very nice today. Buyers definitely didn't have any horsepower on that little bump. They were able to get it up just to basically test the VPOC, and then all hell broke loose on real light volume. This looks like they're going to be focused on making retail soup this morning here, just chopping the hell out of everybody. They got 100 of my dollars, so I'll let them have that and stand by. Just stand by. Always have to remember there are 3 positions in trading: long, short, and flat. And very, very often, flat is the most profitable in terms of account preservation. I think the more successful you've been in other endeavors and the more methodical, engineering, piloty kind of a person that you are, probably the trading is a bit more difficult because you're more used to control, and that there isn't any. You don't have any clue what's going to happen next. That's why setting up statistics and identifying vetted positive edge trades or setups, whatever you want to call them, is so important. And then just execute them and let the edge manifest itself over a wide sample set based on the statistical significance. The casino theory. Gaming is the casino. They play specific games with specific rules, and they never, ever vary them. Gambling is the other side of the coin, where they vary everything all the time, and it's pretty obvious who's most profitable, I think. Wow. That VPOC test was a beautiful thing, I guess. There's 6 points across that range. Almost you could almost call that mean reversion. We got up here and got into these lower areas and reverted back across. Problem is mean is up here, so that isn't really what it was. But if you look at it on the microstructure here, that's pretty much what it was. Test of the VPOC, and then nobody home. Buyers pooped out, and away they went. Now we could be getting into a situation for that IB30, which hasn't happened yet. But look at this chop. They could easily take that straight back to the VPOC. I wonder if it's slight volume. 600,000 contracts have traded so far. Wow. As I said, they could easily trade it back to the VPOC, and there we go. Now we're at mid and VWAP. Again, there's structured trades there, but given this price action today, I'm not going to do that, especially with a 3-point range. And, I've been wrong once, twice, so. And looks like the third time. And they could easily, just as I was saying, they could very easily take the IB30 on the high. And there's the IB30 touching it anyway. But that's not a trade, saying that these tests down here and failure. Now there is some argument for exhaustion here. 170 comes out here. 48 comes out here. It doesn't go any lower. That can be an argument for exhaustion. But the only way that that's a trade in my idea, with the IB stats open, IB30, obviously this would have been the most likely, is that it's a mean reversion trade from down here. But there's no context. The context is flat. So what does that mean? They haven't picked a side yet. It's the same context. Now what are they going to do? They're going to finally take it out and go someplace? I don't know where the hell they'd be going, but well, we've got value area high and some numbers above there. And the previous Globex high is up there. Counting on this thing to go up is, I think, not particularly. It's gonna, though. Looks like they're heading for 84 pretty substantially. $90 is resting liquidity at value area high. So they may strike for that. If we get a pullback, I might try along. Pull back to the IB, that would be an IB. Well, the IB isn't set yet, though. That's the problem. It's still just an IB 30.
Order submitted.
Try this and see where we get. Why didn't that? Oh, I guess it did, but it didn't register right over here. Gotta wait for the next. I take these screenshots. I add the screenshots to my journal. That's why the screen goes kind of funky there. And what are we going to do, boys? Going to take it up or take it down? You'd think they could get it up a couple of points there, but never know. There's a lot of liquidity sitting up there at 85 if they can get through that 330, or if it lifts off. That would be a good idea. Could be the situation that I'm often in where I get ahead of myself with that trade, and then it draws back, reloads, and up they go, which is looking likely now. And I'm just not one for moving my stops. That's defeats the whole purpose of trying to vet this thing, and it's also poor risk management. So I just have to rely on the NQ is not helping out a lot. I don't seem to be able to get this right lately, and it's pretty disappointing, to be honest about it. Demoralizing, I guess, is more the case. And I don't take a lot of trades, so I mean, 2, 3 trades, maybe 1, 2, 3 trades in a day, some days none. And it doesn't doesn't help because I don't have a scale of numbers to lean on. That liquidity is helping. I'm liking the way that liquidity is filling in the gap there, but when you widen it out, it doesn't look so great, you see. Book map you can kind of dial this thing around to do whatever you want. It looks like I'm going to be guilty of taking the high. So if they can run up there to that liquidity, what's the matter with you guys? That IB high at least. It's not an IB high yet. It will be in a few minutes, 10 minutes or so. Got a ways to go to get to that risk neutral, that's for sure. Now is the big temptation to get back to neutral, right? By pulling the stops together. And I will do something like that because I'm sitting on a loss for the day so far. Now I may get taken out, thinking I was all tricky there with the getting up to the IB. That 323 is sitting pretty substantially at 85. See if we can get through that and strike for higher. Strike for higher ground. It does look like context is forming higher, or forming in up, which is good. So I have gotten on the right side of it, perhaps. Now I could zoom my stop up there. We can get that out of the way. Trade through that. There you go. Hit through that, boys. I'm going to pull my stop up to $100. So I would be neutral on the day. They can't get through that stop.
Order submitted.
They can't get through that liquidity. I'm not going to be happy, but I will not be taking a big loss here. There we go. Now get up through there. Get up to that stop. It'll be risk neutral. There we are. Now we're risk neutral. So at this point, I can pull this stop back to here, and I'm ahead of the game, right? And let's see if we can get up to that 89.90 value area high, sort of. This stop should actually just
order submitted.
Be below that liquidity. And take another run up there, boys and girls. The real target would be 90 at the value area high from yesterday. Yeah, we're making some progress now. That's looking positive. Where's my stop? Oh, there we go.
Order submitted.
I think that ought to have it about break even now on the day. So even if I stop, which is highly likely, I would be more or less neutral. There we are. Now what happened with that? Up $100. Well, there we go. Not good, but beats the heck out of taking another loss. So I'm on the positive side of the game now. And that's not good trading. But I am just over losing money. And look at that. Now, look at how interesting that is. Exactly to the stop, one tick below. So how do you do that? To this liquidity, is that where I should have been thinking? And then likely to go higher, likely to go through it. Very likely to go. So I'm going to take this screen grab while the numbers are still on the chart here. There we go. I annotate these and they go into the journalytics log. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Right to the tick on that trailing stop, as opposed to another couple $100 as opposed to a target. Was risk neutral. So I really had nothing to worry about except the original $100, original trade loss. If I wanted to be completely neutral about that, I could have been here, which would have still kept me in the trade. However, you don't know what's going to happen. They could pull back and reload. And in this case, that's highly likely, I believe. It's also very likely that they're going to march out of here because we're at 9:24, the IBL set in 6 minutes. Hopefully everything is working right on the stream. Yeah. So I'll be right back. I hear breakfast. Okay. Well, seems as though it's still flopping around a bit. IB will set in 2 minutes. We've still got that big value liquidity at 90, and that would be a target. The thing I'm a little apprehensive about here is that they haven't really pulled back substantially to reload. And that's something that could have been it, however. And they head for the IB high and then the 90 value area liquidity, which is the previous value area high. Any one of these could have been a reload, I guess. There's just liquidity here. BOC, VWAP way down below us. Now I'm looking at what I would consider a breakout trade, and that makes me irritated. However, we're getting close to the IB high, so if they take that IB high out, I would be looking for a continuation trade at this point. And we're got the IB high in our sights here at another 2 minutes. 7 to 9, that's only 2. 6 to 9, that's 3. See, that's only 4 points to the target. That's not very good. Down here somewhere, that's a different story. Get on down here, you're risk neutral here, and then you ride for the top. And there's the 930 IB high is set. So now the IB stat has been set and taken out. Well, it hasn't been taken out yet. I guess it technically has. Yeah. Wow, that's kind of confusing, but so now I would be looking for an IB continuation to that 90. But it's awful breakout-y looking up here. And not a lot of conviction up. We got exhaustion, if you want to look at it. That's 90 buy stops taken out, and then 3 at the high volume node. Oh, well, and there we go for 90. Correlation's coming back. The NQ's pulling down. Now we'll test under the IB high. And this would be an IB continuation, though it's not very good range-wise. Not very good in terms of range or direction at this point. So the IB continuation, will that be a trade? Right now it's struggling. And we've only got basically 2 points to this liquidity up here, which seems to be a blocker. Yeah, the IB failure is another structured trade, but it's generally only applicable in a rotational or balanced market. Now, you can make the case that we were balanced, we've extended the range, and then it could come right back into balance and rotational again. This really isn't necessarily a trending or directional market yet, I don't think. It's, subjective call for sure. Definitely subjective call for sure. So in any case, I'm going to be patient and see how this develops. There's a lot of liquidity sitting up there at 90, which was a target of mine at one point, but now we've got 50, 88, 89, stuff sitting on both sides of those just above the IB high. They could turn this thing around and pull it back to a balanced day. That's quite possible. We were in the all the way up until 9 o'clock, broke out. Now they could bring it down. It could become rotational balance very simply, very easily, I believe. Could also be IB continuation from this point on too. That's another one. When I will be real upset that I didn't get on at 85. All of these tests along here. I'm not seeing, oh yes, I am seeing correlation, yeah. So I'd say maybe that 85, maybe that IB continuation trade could be happening. Correlation in NQ was good, but now it's turned around and fallen on its head. NQ often leads the way. I don't think there are no more news or speakers, so there you go. I just don't think 87.5 to 88 is where we've topped out. Is anything to write home about, and we'd have to break a new high to get up to this liquidity at 90, which is only 3 points away. So that's not, any fantastic trade. As a matter of fact, if I entered here now, my first scale would be at 90. So that's the target. What's above it? Nothing. It's too late. The entry for this continuation trade would have been to pull back to say 84. Now we're scaled and risk neutral. Now we see what happened. That's so timing and entries, everything. Obviously, that's new, huh? I'm so smart. And here was that possibility, right? We fell out of this compression area or consolidation area. And what are we going to do now? We're going to head back down to developing value area high. Well, I can't say that very good. And see, we took out the IB, boom. And now we could be an IB failure and turn into a rotational day. So that's why I'm glad I assessed my risk, and it's not feasible for 3 points to the target, in my opinion. Not feasible for any of this area here with a target at net. That's only the scale. Down here now, if there was some conviction on my part that it was going to head for those targets, that's a reasonable deal because you're scaled before the IB high. My problem is I don't see any reason why they want to do that, and there's a lot of stuff below us. There's a VPOC and mid, low volume area, developing value area high at 80-ish right here. And that's a big low volume area right there. Low volume node, whatever you want to call it. Again, the compression, lower highs and higher lows. So it could break either way. I think this is a day I may be happy to have $100 in the bank and think I didn't got out of it with my tail between my legs. I'm muting in and out here because I'm eating breakfast rather than chewing into the stream. I hope I'm not. Yeah, so, well, that's pretty disappointing. Catching that pop into the IB high was a good one. Everything is always so clear in hindsight, isn't it? Here we go with more consolidation, up or down. What's the motivation for them breaking up? Where are the traders trapped? My guess is we got a lot of people long. Looking for this, we got a lot of people long making the IB, looking for this 90 number. Are they going to get caught with their pants down? Some of them sure as hell did right here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a structured trade there, nor do I have confidence of this thing. Not that I can ever predict, and I realize that I don't know what I don't know. But it seems to me like they might rotate down to catch some of those stops and then wash out some longs. And I don't see a real reason why they want to go higher. Got a big shelf here. Remember, this is only what's on the chart, and this is the session and the full session. Heading into the developing value area high, which is a big low volume node. And the micro composite VWAP, VPOC, has migrated up a little bit, it appears. Yeah, it's migrated up. No, it's still holding right at 70. That's where it was earlier today. It did jog up a little bit, now back down again. This is the developing one. If I scooch it over to here and pick up today, and it'll set in at 74. So it's migrated up 4 points so far today. This is the micro composite. These green lines here are the high volume nodes, which are pushed across to the high volume node column, Cloud Notes column in Bookmap. It breaks out the bottom. Going to be a rodeo down to about 80. Again, here we sit. We get 3 points to the mid at IB high and 3-4 points down to the this liquidity that's parked here in the low volume node. So that's a crapshoot either direction. You're sitting right at the scale. Where's the targets? I don't see them. Good day to sit and not trade, I guess. I often think that these ledges are going to break down, and I'm frequently fooled. Turns around, goes the other way. The second I say that, it heads up towards the IB low, right up to this low volume area here. So we have a little teeny weeny mean reversion going on from here to here. Well, that's great for somebody, but not me. I mean, that doesn't have any numbers that are meaningful to me. And it could launch. I mean, who the hell knows? NQ doesn't seem to have a direction either. This is the NQ correlated right here, so it gives you a one stop shot. I also have the NQ on IRT here against ES, and this is a market profile, and this is the micro composite. These areas are confusing for me. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people here that got their stops up here short, and probably a larger number of folks down here with stops looking for the long. Which one is it going to get? My guess would be there are more long fuel in the market because of this pop up, right? We were building down here. They got their way. They got paid up this way, and they continue to. Now they're, maybe they got their stops down here under the IB that old one. I don't know. That's something I don't know, and I don't know how to figure out. So we're going to pull the VPOC up here pretty quick. We got 12,590, and what is it? Well, it's 17, so could be a ways, I guess, where that shifts. A trade now would be looking at a breakout, but how do you short up here? Where's yours? That's 5 to 4. Crazy. No range, I think. And that big liquidity is still sitting up at 90. All happy with himself. Looks like a no trade deal to me. For me. Waiting for something to happen that I can recognize. Look at this mess here now. Boom, 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 boom. Looks like a seismic graph rather than a trading chart. What's going to happen, boys and girls? You're going to break through that, and they may just dip down to the value area low and everybody or high, and everybody get excited, and then and then it doesn't go anyplace. Now they're at 14. They need 3,000 more contracts to pull that VPOC up. Well, are they going to break down now? That's a big question here. I'm typing something on my other screens and didn't notice that. They got below the ledge. Now what do? They're in the value area high. Will they come across it? Or reject back out of it towards the IB? That's the big one. That's the big question. Now. And again, taking this trade for me would be considered, I would consider that a breakout of all this crap right here. So, bummer in the summer. Well, there was something I did a long time ago, the trade. Now we're here. We got the mid, the VWAP, the BIP, the BIP, the BIP, everybody, all the usual suspects down below here, mid, VWAP, all that stuff. And I just don't think it's got enough oomph to pick a direction yet. Got a big break in the volume profile here, much more pronounced to see on the IRT, much more pronounced to see right just from we're right here, value area high. Got this huge low volume area down here at 79, 4 points, and then the POCs. So it's a lot less pronounced on these. I have these volume profiles compact to try to get as much chart screen into this one monitor for the purposes of the stream, etc. And, there we went up and tested the top of that again. What are they going to do with it? Still too high? Sell it off or just chop soup? So they can't get it below that. Swing low at around 81, and now it's just going to be this crap back and forth, maybe, as it was early off the open. I don't know of any precipitous inputs that are going to happen. Myself. Essentially, that was a value area high failure, but just not very many, points. So your entries and your entry, your narration, your observation has got to be spot on when you're dealing with 3 or 4 points. And here we are at a total movement here is 4 points. Well, I think that's a good. More contracts to 84 quarter. So let's see now. I think I'll make sure I'm talking. Yeah, I am. I'm going to put on the be right back. I'll fill my water jug. Looks like we're getting some who knows what over here. Action of some sort. If the VPOC shifts up, then that might well give it the momentum to look for higher ground to that 90, which would be an okay trade right now. It's 5 points basically, so you got a scale at essentially a scale at the high of the day, and then who knows what to 90. But yeah. This ain't the place to take that. This is a rakeout, in my opinion. Okay, now we're all watered up here, and what's happened? We've tested the IB high a gazillion times. And then everybody got excited we're going to go lower. So, how many times has that happened recently? About all of these times. Yeah. My guess is we're going to sell off and go back down and test rotationally, but, key word here is guess. And it's not really a good idea to try to predict or have an opinion. It's just pick a trade, pick a side when one looks like it's presenting itself and go with that. Now, I don't really have any structured trades at this point. NQ is dropping, which is a good thing. It's down below its POC. The NQ VPOC did migrate up to the top of this distribution, so that's noteworthy. The NQ VPOC has migrated up here at whatever time that was, and it's now resting up here at 93. We're below it, but the VPOC on ES has not migrated. It made pretty quick because we've only got to get about 500 more. And 500 more contracts and it'll migrate up there. But will we break down to the mid and VWAP before that happens? Looks like it. Looks like. So there was the breakdown that I would have loved to have seen. It would have been so nice to be out at about IB high failure. Got a big bunch of liquidity sitting there at 80. I would say that's a pretty substantial line in the sand. One of my eyes is just driving me completely crazy today. It must be the air quality must be extra terrible. It's usually always terrible here, but must be extra terrible today. And I don't know. Right down to this low volume node area, 80 being the big liquidity park. Hindsight being so wonderful, this test right here would have been a lovely entry at 86, scale at 3, basically at the target. Oh, the liquidity pulled out. Wow, look at that. Didn't trade through it. Now we're at the mid in the VWAP, and POC is only two handles below, so that's pretty close for the VWAP to POC trade, structured trade. Here's POC, 17,464, and we're up here at 16, so basically 1,000 contracts need to change in order to shift that POC up. And there's 10 points from that top. Not in my account, of course, but in hindsight. and might break through that, head for the bottom. You never know. Now it's the diddle in the middle time. Yeah. This is my favorite kind of day, and I think I'll just be happy to narrate these things and keep what little pieces I've got stored up in the fridge. So we're tested the VPOC from below. We broke through it, obviously, this entire range. This move, which was not foreseeable after all of this crap. How do you know when that's going to happen? Who knows? But it did, and now we're breaking below the VPOC, and we're into some of these Globex slows and naked points of control, and lots of reasons to get FOMO-y. I have a hard time trading from the POC out, as I have mentioned before. The diddle in the middle thing was drilled into me for a long time. Yeah. What are they going to do now? They're right back to the center of that early morning consolidation, which was nasty at best. We're right back here, which is essentially the center of all of this noise. A neutral day would be to take out the value area IB low. That would make it a neutral day where it takes out, both sides are active. We'll see if that happens. We had several of those lately. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but, it doesn't have far to go. Basically 5 points. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade this. POC is just above there, a couple of handles, 3. And the IB low is below it. What's it going to do? This would be a breakout for me, and I won't take it, but it's going to be, I'd say we're going for at least the MC, VPOC, and the IB low. That's my guess. That's my prediction. Naked volume pointer control from yesterday, developing value area low, MC, VPOC, and the IB low. Man, what a mess. Huh? What a congestion. What a pile of crap. So if it does take that out, that would be a neutral day, which is pretty darn close. 2 handles away, 3, 2 1/4. No trade for me, no position to get on, no range, no risk reward. The good move was this big down move, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of guys that, I jumped on this VWAP to POC, which is a structured trade, but what is it? It's a 1.5 range. Okay, yeah, if you know the goddamn thing's going all the way down here to the bottom, sure, it's a great trade. But how do you know that? You don't, in my opinion. I could slam into a short here and say, I know it's going to hit the IB low, and that would be 4 points. But it could just as easily go up and retest at 77, which is a VPOC. 2 points away, probably. Now the the full session VPOC shifted lower. Huh. And there it goes. Bang. So is that VPOC shift lower a trade? Don't think so. Price check aisle 3 is only 2 points ahead. You know, it only shifted 2 points. So, what the hell? Not much. Oh, well, this is interesting, but a bit frustrating. Yeah. It's always nice to have some bucks in the bank after effort spent. But any moment that you spend analyzing, narrating, watching, whatever, the charts and trading, I think is a good thing. And it certainly doesn't hurt. Now we're in the diddle in the middle part once again, even though it's a VPOC shift down. I don't think that's a very convincing one to take. And that's exactly why I haven't. Where are you going? You know, you're at 75 now. You could, if you took all of this to IB low, you're looking at 5 points. If you look at where the liquidity starts to bulk up and the naked volume point of control, this big block of liquidity sitting here, you're looking at 3 points. So that's just barely a scale. And if it wiggles even so much as up to retest mid and VWAP, well, then you're out of the trade. And here comes the wiggle. Wiggling is nice sometimes, but not when you're trading. and shift back up again. This is just definitely a rotational moment now. Quite obvious and clear here. Tested exactly these lows across here for this consolidation, and right back to it. Now back up here to the mid, and a little dipsy doodle in the VPOC. I guess I could go like that. Little dipsy doodle in the VPOC here, and now we're back up to the mid and VWAP. Well, mid is up here, VWAP's down here. It's just a little bit different, depicted a bit differently on the book map. Boop. So, yeah. What's it going to be? Where's it going to go? Nobody knows. Somebody does, I guess. I'd like to think that somebody knows. Some people feel like this is just completely random. I'm not sure I believe that. That fair value gap guy, whatever he's called, inner circle trader or whatever it is, he's completely convinced that the auction is just crap, and that the entire trading day, every trading day in futures is controlled by an algorithm, which he says he has a copy of. Now, he's got, 1 million followers on Twitter and YouTube and wherever else, and has been doing it for quite a long time. So I suppose there are people that follow his ideas and make money. Must be. But he, believes completely 180 out of phase to everything that I think and follow my trading and from the T-Lab and that kind of thing. But so it just shows you that any approach you take can be profitable, assuming that you stick to it. And I think if the truth were known, he would probably admit it somewhere along the line that he has vetted trades. I don't know that he's actually pulled statistics on anything, perhaps, but, after you've traded a long time, I guess you get a sense for what works. And maybe that's the case, but, anyway. It's real funny sometimes to see or hear the different theories, and they're always put forward as they are the sole way to go. Tom doesn't do that, and I don't believe that either. I don't think there's any one way to do this right. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of profitable traders, and they certainly don't all trade the same way. Otherwise, the trades wouldn't work. Can we get through this low volume area and be looking for that IB high? I don't know. At least up to that last consolidation area around the value area high. Well, I don't know. That's pretty dicey. This would be the position for an outside in, mean reversion lower. But market seems to be wanting to go higher. They consolidated, traded higher. Now we've come down and tested the area and looking to go higher again. So I'm thinking that this might be a good opportunity for a high, for a long, up to that developing value area high. Right there in the middle of some extremely low volume now at 80. Huge low volume node right here. break through that at 81, we probably got a ways we probably could do it. But now I'm looking at 3 points to the scale. So will that work? And somebody, clever guy will say, well, this test to the mid was the way to get on that long. Was it? Now it's a breakout. I won't take it. So overanalyze it perhaps, but yeah, so they might get back up to the value area or the IB high again. Never know. I don't ever know. I should put it that way. Okay. Back over it. Come on. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Oops. This will be interesting to see how this works out now. Got OBS going on 3 different machines. 3 different machines. There we go. So we'll see if that works and there's not too much background noise there. So right up to that, kissing off of that IB high or developing value area high. In hindsight, this test of the back, this breakout test would be a trigger with increasing liquidity, buyers hitting in here. Or you could say the same thing down here, but this is inside out, which is pretty hard for me to do. This could go, and this could easily trade through value area high and up to the IB high, or this 90 still sitting up here. Who the hell knows? That's the big question. The big who knows. And break up here, IB high, and value area high, and turn around and go the other way. So the question is, or the fact is, the statistics or the probability the very next trade is 50-50, is go up or down. So is there a structured trade here that has been vetted with a positive edge, and then take the damn things every time? And the more of them you take, the more that positive edge, assuming you were accurate, will manifest itself and you will be profitable. That's how it works. Now we're back into that developing value area high, or just touched it, which is the bottom end of that upper consolidation. A lot of nastiness going on here today. And my breakfast of Wagyu and stir-fried spinach and Gaia was very good. That's not the name I'm looking for, but it escapes me a minute ago. I had it. No, I don't. It's not kimchi, but it's crazy. Yeah, and here we sit. could easily break down. I mean, here's the day. Consolidation. Break up IB out. Test back to here, which is essentially value area low. Back to the other side. I mean, in hindsight, real easy trades to take and beautiful. Yeah, look at this. Here you go. Test it and up and test it and down. And you know what I mean? Those are all real easy trades to take. And here we have now we're testing over the value area high, potentially to the IP high. And what have we got? We got 6 points, 7 points. That's good. And up to that 80. So I think I might do this. I think I might take this trade here. And the NQ is moving. What are we at? 10:40. So I'm looking at this trade for the return to the IB high and that 90. And I didn't get my execution here when I hit into it at 83. That's pretty disappointing. That's disappointing. Bring this down under that
Order submitted.
liquidity. And maybe just a smidgen below the IB.
Order submitted.
See if we get that. And bring these two together. Ooh, bring these two
Order
together.
submitted.
So they can be moved at once. Well, now, did I just be a dick for a tick and didn't move that down below the IB quick enough? We'll see if they can reload and move. Let's just see here. Well, and that doesn't look so good there. Don't need all those sellers being so rambunctious there. We've got a pile of liquidity sitting off here at 87. I'll go just under that. So I've moved my risk neutral scale down by, say, 50 cents. Sorry, 2 ticks. And let's see if we catch it this trip up. And if so, then the stop would be moved and to break even. And we'll let it play for that 90, assuming we get risk neutral here. And I could scale out now and be risk neutral, but I'm only going to be 2 points behind. So that's, it's not statistically significant with the rest of the data set. I'm worried now that the bomber's going to come zooming in here and poop the party. What do we got? 10:40. $10.40, huh? Boy, that was irritating right there. Why would that be the stop, I wonder? This would be quite frustrating. Well, we'll take the, see how it plays out here. I'm not liking this bunch of crap right here. I want them to get going and make a move above that 86 here. They are not being what I consider to be friendly traders. Get up there and take that first limit. Get us risk neutral. My inclination now is to jump up to break even, right? Which would, I don't know what to think about that, actually. I don't know why it did that. For some, oh, it moved off the screen over here. I got it. I'm going to try a different technique here. See if we get our risk neutral. I'm ready to relax. Oh, you got to be kidding me. There we go. Now we're risk neutral. We'll bring this up to this liquidity, and we'll hold for the, so the worst that could happen is a scratch if I leave my stop here at 81 half, or 81.75, and I've brought it up to 83, so got some cushion in there, and we'll see if we get on up to that pre-90 target somewhere. Or I can take it up to the entry also. I would say chances are pretty good we'll get up to this liquidity if we can get through this 88 level up here. See whether these guys lift off or trade it. Big difference now in risk neutral, big difference in psychology. I could take a scratch. I don't think I want to. So I can also bring it up here and do what is called trade management, which is just kind of follow this thing up a bit. See where we go. That's not lifting. We're at, we got 259 up there. We could also hit the plunger and just be out at 300 up. What are you going to do? What's that NQ doing? Monkeying around, huh? Could very well come back to my area here. Call that a swing low. Got to get the profit per trade, size of winning trades up. And this trade management doesn't help that. Doesn't help that at all. It does help your account that you don't go broke, but come on, get on that, boys. That IB got over that IB, but just by a skosh. Seems to not be liking getting too far below that. $90 is probably going to be the liquidity of the day, so I will probably just let this
Order submitted.
sit out here. Uh, 10:50, 11 o'clock, not a good. Disappointing that I didn't get up through there. Let's see what happens. Don't like this stalled out price action that continues here just below the IB. That's irritating. Especially when there's only a couple hundred contracts there at that 88. But that seems to be a pretty popular number. That's the thing that can happen to you when you trail up like this, relatively close. These idiots can bang it back and forth just to, try to pick up some stops below here, and that's what can happen rather than just get up through the IB. And I'm relatively sure that before this day is over, that 90 will be taken out. Probably sorry that I didn't just take the stop and move on at 11:30. I've got to be kind of thinking about something else here. And we'll probably get this rotation. They keep doing that. I'm in the money on the trade, basically, but I would like to see it be a profitable trade to the target instead of this nonsense. And it's now we're looking at what you would consider to be a mean reversion. We're right now on the POC of this little bit of crap here. 18. Oh, that would be sweet if they could get the migration up. I've got to get 2,000 more contracts traded off here to bring that up, though. Yeah, we'll see. It's the joy of trading. The joy of trading. Break out of that IB and get up above it like that right there, and that liquidity is lifted. This liquidity at 88 has kind of moved itself out of the way. Now if I bring my stop up here, I'm at the original target. So let's see if they can get through that liquidity. And if they break through that high of the day and the liquidity at 88, they're probably going to take the head for that 90 target, that 90 area. But they keep this noise up. Just can't get the buyers to hit into that thing like they're supposed to. That IB seems to be pretty obstinate. Flash that liquidity at him. Flash that 88. Attaboy. There we go. Flash it. Get up there. Be a good boy. Come on. And I could get up there for I could get up for my 3 points across the board if I wanted to be that I think they're going to get through that. And I'm going to pull up here.
Order submitted.
And see. I'm up to pretty close to that. Now, take that liquidity and go, boys. You're over the IB now. There's nothing holding you back. If it gets into the liquidity or they lift that off, it'll run. It's lightening up. Hit into it. See if they'll trade or move. What's the matter with you guys? That's too tight. Too tight. They keep stacking that level. Oh well, it is what it is. I'd like to see them get up there and take that, but it seems like they just can't quite get over that IB high, which is kind of weird. But anyway. There we go. Well, it took the stop. Now it'll pull back and then run. Wow, that was a long haul. That was a pretty long haul. I'm sure they'll run into it now, I would guess. But now is not the time for me to get on it. And I think I managed that out okay. I hope. So what have we got? We got pulled back to the liquidity or something. Got a bit of exhaustion. Nah. Now, in this case, I would have been economically ahead to just take both off. Where'd it go? Take both off at the first scale. You know, would have been at $300 or whatever it is, 312 or something like that. But there was a potential for this, and I still believe it exists, that we're going to get through 88 and get up to that 90 liquidity level, and now it's going to be it. So had I just been a little more patient, you see, I would have got there. From the looks of it. Can't take it now because it's a breakout. So had I not trailed this up as tight as I did, you see, I would be now into that liquidity. and looking for higher ground. Got to trade out that 88 for whatever reason. That seems to be a big stumbling block. My philosophy or my psychology is I like to have some cushion behind me, and then I don't mind taking these scratch trades until I get some cushion built up. I trail them up, which screws up my vetting process. Uh, but you see, this hasn't even gotten remotely down to my original stop or my break even when I pulled up break even stop. And chances are very, very likely we're trading through 88 and heading for my target. That liquidity at 90. Here's going to go through there now. Yep. Trading it off, lifting it out. And they're stacking it. They're stacking 88 pretty heavy. They haven't been able to trade through it yet. They're piling them into 88 as hard as they can. I'll be damned. Huh. Stacking is right here. Watch this 88 number. Every time they trade into it, then they reload it. There they go. Finally got them off. Okay, now it'll break for 90, and I would be in the money at my take profit. And whoever else will be able to post a big target sign and say Yahoo, Yahoo, you know. Had I had a successful trade first, then I would have just let this trade play out and not trailed so tightly, which would have given me another 24, 36. I'd had 36 ticks instead of about 24, so another, 10, 12 ticks on the day so far. It's 11 o'clock. Yeah, so that's that. I will not, it hasn't hit the target yet. And I'm certainly not going to re-enter up here somewhere. I don't feel comfortable with that. My entry was pretty good down here when I had it, when I got it. Basically mean reversion, I guess. And here we are. Now it's not mean reversion. This would be breakout right up to that next one. And it's going to go there probably in this next lift. So what a shame. A shame it didn't do this right here. Why doesn't it? How the hell do you know? And it spooked me to bring my stop from here, which was never touched, up to here. Had I left it here, I'd be looking at pretty close to my target, which is, that's only 5 points. What the hell? I guess that's not such a big deal. Is that right? 84 to 96. Oh, that's not like it's a 10-point deal or some wonderful trade, but it's better a sharp stick in the eye, I guess, isn't it? Let's listen to some walking pace here and relax. what are these little boys and girls up to now? Oh, they still didn't make that liquidity. They're pulling it back once again. Now it would be getting in the area of thinking about re-entering, I guess. A valid thought. Trying to figure out how to space this mic off my face with 3 fingers or something like that. Yeah. I think I will let well enough be. Take my post-breakfast vitamins here. So, now I had that on, the be right back thing. Okay, why did that go away? I think it might have been that I switched the monitors. Let's just check. Okay. Switch the monitor to IRT. Switch back to the book map. And yes, it definitely did. When it switches back to book map, or when it switches to the other one, right or left, it gets rid of the be right back. I see. Okay. I'll have to figure out something else, but what the hell? What are you going to do? Yeah, so not a brilliant day, but considering a loss, and we finally migrated. Here we are. Look at this. Isn't that cute? Now would be a very possible up move. But that is, well, that's one. So that's VPOC migration up. Will that drive this thing higher? The theory is yes. Excuse me if my vitamin was making noises here. Well, so not particularly stellar day, but, green. I guess that's, I would suppose. It's better than nothing. 312 for 6 round trips. Pathetic. 6 contracts. So 3 trades. I was thinking there was only... Really? There's only 2. Yeah, that's right. What am I thinking? 2 in, 2 out. Yeah, it's 4, 4 per side. 4 per trade, 2 per side, in and out. Yeah. And one plunger, and one plunger lost, and a one that played out to scale and trailing stop has not hit the target yet, which would be right here. So, and here was the trailing stop. So now it's, the water's considerably muddier. So I guess I could say, oh, I'm so bummed out that I didn't let it go up here and take it out, but, or trail this up to here or some nonsense. But yeah, I didn't. So there you are. Would be kind of surprised if the VPOC migration shift upward here doesn't result in 90. You would think they would. That says people are accepting price higher, right? It shifted up, meaning that the VPOC is the price that's traded the most volume, which obviously means it's the most accepted price. And if that accepted price has moved substantially higher, which it has almost completely across the value area, just a little bit above value area low to now just a little bit below value area high, that says they're accepting value higher and price higher. So either they're just jerking people around, whoever they are, or the thing's going to get higher and that 90's going to get hit. I think it will be hit without me, though. Because apart from this VPOC migration up, which does open the possibility for a price check at aisle 3, which is way to hell down here, right? Oops, I didn't mark that one. Sorry. That's one. That's one of the migrations. Here we are looking at mid, VWAP, and the price check at aisle 3, right? And there was a little dipsy doodle down here. That's basically it. That's the big it, and that's only that's a 10-point migration, basically, just above 76, just above 86. But you've got these things down here, and essentially you're just out in space up here. So, what do? Call this the outside edge and try to trade back to mean reversion and higher. 4 to 6, 2 handles there. 2 handles. Yeah, I was making sure that everything was actually looking as I thought it was supposed to. Yeah, so there we are. And the correlation is not working out like it was planned. Yeah, so there you go. There's that target. There's the high of the day so far. And it may never get to 90. It may just get up close to there, and that's the end of that. It may never go back above the VPOC at this point. It's starting to fall out the bottom of that micro composite, and it could just, which is this, it falls out the bottom of this thing. It's got, clear sail into the mid and the VWAP. So, yeah. I'm going to wind the stream off here. I think it's a sufficient period of time. Both trades are in there. It's been just under 3 hours, 2 hours and 52 minutes. I guess I let the stream run at flat 3 and then shut her down. And we see what we see. Listen to some of that walking bass. I should be able to monitor that. Advanced monitor and output. It's supposed to be on right now. I don't know why it's not. That's pretty weird. Well, so essentially micro mean reversion. Well, actually more than micro. We got down just about to this low volume area and we're going to revert to the mean, pretty close. And then we'll see if we scooch up past there. Again, very limited range. So for me, so there you have it. Yeah, pretty clean mean reversion from the outside edge at that liquidity around 83. And now we're chugging up past the value area high, and I'm guessing they've got their sights set on 90. Myself. So that would be quite the trade right there. That's a 6-pointer, 7-pointer. Without any heat whatsoever. Here's if you want to call this trade down to 143, pull back trigger to 1, exhaustion, buyers kicking in, and away you go. That's pretty clear. Pretty clear. And I guess it would be considered a mean reversion in this upper distribution. This is not really very valid because it's just showing what's on this chart, obviously, but this one is fixed. This is the session. So we got down almost exactly to the outside edge. Back to the mean, and up we go. There we are. There's that 90. Target's hit. Target is hit at 90 without me. How disappointing. Now what are they going to do? Everybody's so excited taking out that level, they don't know what to do next. I guess they might continue to try to drive. We've got high volume node at 95 and some levels up here, previous high and whatnot at 97. So there's more upside targets available. Whether that's a reality or not, that's another story. Took out value area high. We've taken out all the intraday pretty much stuff except for the previous. The trade wherein this value area high was set, this is the high of that trading period, which was yesterday's RTH. And so they could still very well hit into that liquidity of 500, which is pretty steep. They haven't been able to get past 90. Yeah, they're sneaking past it now. Yeah, boy, now they're excited. Now they are excited. Breakout guys were anyway. So I'm not sure what we're going to do here, but I'm shutting the stream off in a few seconds. It's 2:59:19 so far, time on, so I'll shut it off at 3 hours. And that was pleasant, relaxing walk and base there. So, thanks very much, anyone that listens to this besides myself. A couple of trades, positive on the day. And I will call this a stream for 7 December 23.